screen grabs from the Silk Road, I want to be a buyer on the Silk Road, or instead of talking about the ways that things can be transported from one country to the next, I want to be the thing that is transported from one country to the next.
What can you tell something more about the Silk Road? Because I don't think people know what it is, or if they know, they probably won't visit MAMA. So tell me something more about the Silk Road.
Well, the Silk Road is a website that was founded in, I think, February of 2011. It's entirely Tor encrypted, which means that you need a special piece of software to enter the site. It encrypts and anonymizes all the people that visit it, and it's a market, so it's like eBay, but it's eBay for all the things that are in the black market, not on the white market. So you pay each other using a system called Bitcoin, which is also an anonymous currency that just came into existence in the past year as well. So you're in this anonymous black market, paying with anonymous money. You can buy anything. I mean, mostly anything. You can buy guns, you can buy drugs, you can buy different sexual objects and things. It's pretty open, and that way it's really exciting. You've kind of always been kept from these things all your life, or seeing them in the wide open like this, and it's pretty brazen.
What did you buy?
What I bought on the Silk Road was an identification card for myself, a United States identification card.
Is this one?
And that's this one right here. This is the back.
Really nice. What is on the front? Two really nice pictures of you.
Our two portrait pictures of myself.
Which one is the real? Could you point to me?
This one's real,
Yeah.
and this one's false. That one's fake.
All the your date of birth.
Yeah, I mean
everything is identical. So why did you?
Yeah, exactly.
Fake one.
Well, in talking about moving in and through the law, I was thinking about how arbitrary sometimes the law can be. In this case, I decided to have all my real information put on it, everything from the driver's number to my date of birth, to my actual photo, to my name, to my place of living, etc. Because as I moved through the airport, I was thinking, what if everything was real except for the piece of plastic itself? What if the identity that I was presenting them was real? What if all the information I was giving them was valid, except for this one thing? And that way, I wanted to kind of highlight the arbitrariness of these identification cards in a sense, to show that that could be truthful while lying at the same time.
This comes from the Silk Road, and do you use the Silk Road in a way of getting new objects in a kind of ready-mades, or is it also because it's a kind of new social structure, or is it a combination of these two things?
Oh, well, I mean, I think of these less as ready-mades. I think my interest is less in collecting things and more in using things. So in that way, if the ready-made had Marcel Deschamps, then I'm more interested in something like the Détournement by Guy Debord, the idea of just constantly using things for new purposes and then moving on from them as opposed to hoarding them. I think the same thing applies in the rest of the pieces where I only buy the things in order to share them or to disperse them further. And that's the same with the bump key piece, which is yet to be installed, but eventually will be, where I bought a series of copyrighted bump keys on Silk Road, and currently having them manufactured, making copies of them, so that the gallery visitors can take them and take their own bump key. But maybe I should explain what a bump key is, right?
Well, maybe not, but I think for you it's most important that you distract this kind of objects from the Silk Road online, and that you give it a next life offline. It's just what I understand from it.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I think that one of the things, I didn't make objects for a really long time. I've been making things on the internet for maybe about 3 years straight now. I stopped making physical things. And I think one of the things that bored me about objects was that they felt kind of dead to me. They felt like there was no life in them. And so I started thinking about what type of objects would imbue life, or what I could do to imbue life into the objects. And I started thinking about movement and the different types of movement that objects undergo. The name of the exhibition, The Social Life of Things, is stolen from a a book by a teacher of mine, Artie Vierkant, where he talks about the role objects play in our lives, the ways in which we move objects, but they also have some agency in moving us. I talk about this in regards to the Silk Road, and that yes, these are objects that I could hold in my hand and move around, but also these are objects that allow me to move, especially in the case of this ID piece. It's something that literally grants me access to movement. So I suppose in thinking about why I returned to making these objects, it was most interesting to me to create a sculpture that would continue moving, that would continue having a life after the exhibition, where people could do things and interact with it and literally change the artwork as the exhibition goes along. So in the case of the bump keys, it was most interesting to me that people could take them and they could go home and potentially break into whatever they wanted to, or that the identification cards could be used to continue moving me home in this instance, as well as get here. And in the plants, allowing the visitors to take them.
The plants that are not the plants yet.
The plants that are
we can
still
show
growing.
the camera. We've got some pots.
Yeah.
This will be in the sculpture as well?
That will be a sculpture, exactly.
Because what is this?
These are Hawaiian baby wood rose seeds. I have some other seeds too, some poppy seeds and some other plants that I bought off the Silk Road. And this
is it drugs, huh?
yeah, I mean you can manufacture those.
It's marijuana.
No.
What is it?
It's a psychedelic drug. It's
Psychedelic drug.
When extracted, it's more like LSD.
Okay.
Yeah. But owning these in seed form is totally legal. Growing them into a plant is totally legal.
Yeah.
They only become illegal at the point of manufacture or of consumption. So
this is also for people to bring with them at home. They can take the scuttles and
yeah, once it grows, yeah.
Yeah.
Feel free to.
So everybody who comes to Mama can take some natural
maybe.
LSD with him.
Yeah, we can leave a little scissors and people can snip some of the plant up.
And don't you feel a little bit bad because of making people addicted?
I don't think anybody's addicted to these drugs.
Yeah, you never know. Because you're in Holland, that's maybe the biggest difference between Holland and America. Is that like narcotics, like marijuana or this kind of, are so super strong that people really get addicted with it.
Oh, really?
From it.
Huh.
Don't you feel ashamed?
No.
Don't you have any moral strike
No.
concerning your work?
No, I don't believe in victimless crimes. It's their decision.
Yeah. You take your hands off it as soon you bought it, and then it's over.
Yeah,
it's not your problem anymore.
Well, I don't mostly think of drugs as a problem. I mostly think of them as recreation for people to do, or even a chance for them to gain some kind of consciousness outside of their everyday existence. I mostly think of them as a positive force, especially the types of ones that I'll be putting in this exhibition, which are mind-expanding drugs, not meth or crack or anything like that.
And is it social?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Because your work is concerned, to get back to that, about the social organization of people. And this isn't kind of making people behave in a certain way with each other, sharing drugs.
They could, yeah.
And this is really this combination of online and offline. You buy it online from anonymous marketplace where you can get whatever you want. But can you tell me something more about your something more, because you didn't tell us yet? But your work's also playing a big part only on the internet.
Should I talk about the websites?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What kind of website do you show here at Mama?
Excuse me. There's 3 websites in the exhibit. The first one, Blind Mist, won a Rhizome commission earlier in the year. Basically, Blind Mist is a website that allows viewers to input their URL into a little box at the top of the screen. From here, the website then takes every image off of that URL. So if you have a bunch of pictures on your homepage, then it will take those. It puts these images into a database, and then it spits them out on the website one by one, so that there are all kinds of different juxtapositions. I mean, every image is right next to each other with absolutely no text whatsoever. So you can have a mix of high and low artworks. You have popular culture next to art, next to everything else. And I mean, there's currently over 300,000 images in this database, so there's a lot of material, and no two viewers' experiences are ever the same. So I suppose we were interested in creating a kind of commons or space for people to collectively come together and create something that we wouldn't be able to. So we've had so many people put in URLs into the site that we would have never, as individuals, been able to do this. But by opening it up as a kind of social space for other people to use, have been able to create a project much more expansive.
And you don't know which kind of images do circulate on your website.
No, and that's the other thing. Much like this, in a way, is that anybody can put any URL in there. And we've had all kinds of porn and everything else. So there's a pretty wide mix of things that are circulating on Blindbest.
Brad, you're a teacher as well, aren't you? Where do you teach and what do you teach?
I teach digital art at New York University. I teach undergraduate students there.
What do you teach? What kind of lessons do you give?
What kind of lessons do I give?
What are they about?
Most of the lessons are about getting people to think about the internet as an active, explosive space that can be made in their image, that the internet is not television, that they can participate in the creation of images and social space and everything else, that they're performers, they're not viewers.
And this internet, is it really based on the internet itself, or does it also have a connection to the society?
Oh, no, I think that I see no real distinction between the internet and society. It's the internet is what runs society now. I think that all the things that we do in online space often have societal repercussions. That the things that we buy and the things that we move through the internet are also very much part of society.
If you walk on the streets right now, do you see on the streets already this kind of influence of the internet? Here on the street in Rotterdam?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can see things that refer back to the internet everywhere, whether it's QR codes or promotional advertisements to go online instead of where you are. But I think that it's a little bit deeper than that, even in that, for example, when I go into one of these clothing stores and it's totally empty, I wonder, are there more people buying from this clothing store at this moment in this space or online? And the answer is probably online. They probably have an online store that's providing them with their rent this month. So I think that even all these physical spaces are all connected. I mean, other than maybe the shawarma stand over there or something like that, most all of these stores have some online presence that influences who can access them and who will.
So basically your whole physical appearance is based partly on the internet and on the web and all the things you do there and buy there.
Oh, sure. I mean, I wouldn't even be standing here if it wasn't for the internet, right? There's definitely even a link to how you found out about my work or anything else. It happens online, and then we meet up in person. Right?
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for this interview.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Everybody who visits us on the 4th of November is the opening.
Yeah.
But I think when this film is online, we can still visit it till the 23rd of December. Ja. Van het hoekje.